Hello and welcome back to another Space Engineers Showcase video. In today's video, we're showcasing a showcase. And we're looking at the Iron Heathen Showcase, which is this lovely stuff right here. So the creator has gone and added a bunch of their different designs to a single grid for you to spawn in through the menu. We've got troop transports, we've got material transports, we've got search and rescue vehicles, as well as remote controlled drones that can double as a kamikaze drone just in case you need it. Pressing F10 and finding it in the spawn menu, there it is. This thing is 1,617 large blocks using the Decorator Block 1 and 2, Spark to the Future, Wasteland and Warfare 1 DLC packs. We can see a little bit of information about it right here, but all the information we really need are on these lovely LCD screens next to each individual vehicle. And we're going to go through, we're going to take a look at each of these, then we're going to spawn a few of them in and play around with them. Just bring my character all the way over to here for the first one. We're going to be looking at the Wombat MT Mk2, which is this lovely thing over here. So we'll look at the LCD screen where it says the Wombat MT is a light transport designed chiefly to get cargo from one side to another. It is equipped with the driver assist script to allow it to adapt to terrain. If we scroll down a little bit, we can see that it's powered by batteries, and it does have a docking assist camera at the back there just to help you not damage anything. And we see there the individual block size, PCU, and of course the mass. So coming out there and bringing the free camera to get a closer look at it, this is what we get. So we've got our industrial cockpit at the front with a camera just below it. Right above we then got our wasteland spotlights, then moving around the side we can see a battery, O2H2 generator, a antenna to make sure we can always find this thing, a decoy at the top, which is the only form of defense on this thing, and there is a cargo container at the back with a connector and an exhaust shooting out a bit of smoke. If we come around to the opposite side, we can then see another battery. There is a programmable block for the driver assist, then over there we got ourselves a beacon, and there is a armor locker on the side. And there we go. So now we come across onto the next one, which is the Wombat EV Mk1. So this is a exploration vehicle where it says it's craft designed to scout out new locations. It's battery powered with a solar charger on top, although this usually means that the range of the vehicle is somewhat limited. We can also see that it does include the driver assist script like the previous vehicle, and we do have an ore detector to make sure we can find precious resources while out and about. Bringing the free camera all the way onto this one, we've got a very similar setup with ourselves the industrial cockpit and wasteland spotlights on top. But rather than camera below the cockpit, we've got ourselves a remote control block just in case we don't want to drive this around ourselves. And also like the previous vehicle, we can see batteries on both sides, and moving all the way around towards the back is a very similar setup, except we got ourselves a survival kit instead of cargo container, and of course the spotlight on top where the decoy was sitting. Just come around to the opposite side. There we go. Now if we move across onto the third one, this is on a transparent LCD screen, which is pretty hard to read, where it says this one is the Wombat TT Mk1. So unlike the previous vehicle, this one is designed to get people from one place to another. We can carry 4 passengers along, as well as a little bit of cargo. We have an O2H2 generator on here, as well as a mixture of batteries and hydrogen to power this thing. Come out of there and we'll get a better look at it. So all the way over to here is slightly different setup this time. We've still got our industrial cockpit at the front. Our wasteland spotlights are now on the side. We've got nothing underneath, but we can see our hydrogen tanks just behind our spotlights. Hydrogen engines to give this thing some additional power, a lot of batteries underneath just in case you need it, and there are our seats for our passengers to sit on. Coming all the way around towards the back, that is what we get. We've got a lovely LCD screen that says, remain clear of the vehicle's rear. Moving around onto this side, there's some more seats, and we've got a similar setup once again. If we were to move across onto the next one, we're now coming up to the big boys of this collection. This right here is the Capybara MT Mk2, where this says is a medium weight vehicle with a frame made of heavy armor, so it requires a decent amount of cobalt build. The vehicle was equipped with medium features necessary for the driver assistance script. It's also once again battery powered with an additional battery to jump start this thing in case you need to power up the hydrogen engine from scratch. We can also see it's got 3 Gatling turrets on the top to make sure you are well defended while driving this thing around. And once again, we can see the size of the blocks, PCU, and mass. So bringing the camera all the way over to here and getting a better look. We then got our industrial cockpit once again. That's been put to very good use for this collection. Yes, we've got our spotlights on the side there with a lot of armor plates all the way around. We've got a hydrogen engine at the very top with 2 exhaust blocks. Moving across onto the side, this is what we get. So there is a battery at the front there. We see a bunch of containers all linking all together for the ammunition for the guns. We can take a look down to here. We can see some more cargo containers hidden away inside. Then along the top, we can see our 3 Gatling guns. If you were to come all the way around towards the opposite side, this is what we get. It's basically the same. So there we go. So then moving on to the next one, which is the last of the big boys. This is the Capybara TT Mk1, where this is a troop transport version where it can hold up to 6 passengers, where one of them being a gunner. Once again, this uses heavy armored blocks, and it can also be utilized to quickly transport people from one place to another, especially in a war zone, but you don't want to get too close to any kind of active combat, because the vehicle could be torn to shreds quite quickly. Coming out to that, bring the free camera over. This is what we get. So unlike the previous vehicle, we lose a lot of the heavy armor steel blocks around all of our important stuff. Instead, it uses a more open design. So we see some armored blocks at the bottom there, batteries on the side with our wasteland spotlights. The exhaust block returns once again. There is our lone turret at the top. Here is a little cage for the gunner to sit in and control the turret, and of course to move ammunition in from that container all the way up manually. Here are our troop seats along the side with a couple armory lockers in the middle there. And towards the back right here, we've got another seat, more armory lockers, and we can see a couple of auction tanks in there, just in case we need it. Moving around and ignoring the lightning that I just heard in the very distance. Here is the very back. We've got some brake lights, a hydrogen engine, and then to the opposite side, we can see the other seats. And there's the other side of our gunner's chair. If you were to grab hold of my character and we'll just quickly get rid of that thunderstorm before it tries to start destroying stuff. There we go. And now we'll come across over to this section right here. So these are little drones or transport vehicles that are designed for very aligned work. This one right here is a Mule, which is the first of a few small transportation vehicles that are used for both search and rescue and of course to transport stuff remotely. So over here, opening this up, it says the Mule here was made out of a Badger OD that was modified in order to reach some stranded engineers with the needed supplies when there was no working rovers at the time. The only issue I have run into is it is a bit top heavy and doesn't like steep hills. There we'll come across over to this one and get a better look at it. And this is what we get. So front and center, we got ourselves a camera to control this thing. We can see our hydrogen engine, programmable block, gyroscopes just in case we needed, hydrogen tanks on the side there with a large container in the middle. And if we were to drop down a little bit, we can see our beacon, so we can always see this location. There's some batteries, there's an antenna, and on the opposite side and towards the back there, that's what we get. Grabbing hold of this character, moving across over to here. This is the search and rescue drone, where it's designed to go out remotely, collect any stranded engineers or any injured engineers, and take them back to base. If we were to come and get a better look at this one, this is what we get. So we've got 2 seats on the side, a cargo container, a couple of hydrogen tanks, a hydrogen engine to power this thing, a camera once again at the front to drive this thing around. Then moving across over here, we can see an O2H2 generator, and all the usual stuff underneath, such as batteries, time blocks, cargo containers, antenna, and beacons. There we go. Coming across over to here, these are the personal transport vehicles. We can drive around a factory floor to act all snooty. So this is the Hamster personal transport, which is a glorified golf cart, where you come in here and see that it's not meant for off-road travel, it's meant for large bases and getting from A to B. So all the way over here, this is what we get. Got a bunch of spotlights and in front there, a bunch of very, very small wheels. See our 2 little rover chairs in the middle. Coming around the side there, we see our cargo containers. We've got an armory locker, batteries, 2 little seats at the back there for your passengers. There's some brake lights at the back there. I'll get my character to face away from that so it doesn't constantly show up. And around the side, there we go. Moving across over to this one, this is the Jerboa, a singular transport vehicle designed to get around a factory floor, kind of like the small little factory cart from Satisfactory. It's meant to be a little bit of fun and not to be taken seriously, and it is in a rather glorious golden disco colour. So all the way over to here, this is what we get. We've got some spotlights at the front. There's our little seat to sit in. We've got some batteries at the back there. There is a reactor just in case you need it. And yes, it would be a little bit of fun to drive this thing around. And of course, you're not going to be taking this uphill or anything like that, unless you wanted to. You could always disconnect the wheels and add larger ones on, but that's entirely up to you. Now we're going to come across to the final section, which of course is the remote control drones, which can double as a kamikaze stuff. These are the honey badgers, and all the way over to here, here's the regular badger. So starting with the Badger, this is a ore drone, where we come into here and we can see it is a quick, simple, efficient and cheap to produce. The Badger is a small grid rover drone designed to drive around and pick up ores relatively close to the surface. We can see here that it also uses the driver assist script to make sure we don't have to do too much ourselves. So all the way over here, this is what we get. We got ourselves a camera on a hydrogen engine. We got 2 gyroscopes, a remote control to remote control it. And around the side there, we see our hydrogen tanks. Connect out the back to dock it up. A reverse camera, which is always nice to have. An ore detector so we can go out and find ore if we need to. Then just bring the free camera all the way over. And just looking at right below it, that's what we get. So there we are. Moving across over to this one, this is the Honey Badger Mk1. We're opening this up where it says the Honey Badger is a attack drone with a heavy armored block chassis to protect its interior components. The best part is the interior warhead, where the guns get knocked out of commission, the drone can kamikaze its target and explode. There we go. Going all the way over to here, we've got 3 Gatling guns at the very front with once again a camera to drive this thing around. Coming around to the side, that is what we get. We've got a parachute hatch just in case we need it. Then all the way around to the very back, there's our programmable block and antenna. Then onto that side, once again, the same setup. Looking at it from underneath, we've got a couple of batteries. And there we go with this one. Now we can come across to the final one, which is the Honey Badger Mk2, where it says it is an improvement over the Mk1, where it packs more firepower by using rockets. Once again, we've got the kamikaze function with a warhead in the middle. So all the way over to here, one final time, we've got our camera in the middle, we've got 2 rocket launchers. Around the side, there's our parachute hatch, once again, a gyroscope just in case we need it. At the back, there's our antenna. Then underneath, there we go. If we were to shove the camera all the way inside, can we find that warhead? There it is, right behind our programmable block. And there we go. So now it's time to drive a few of these around. I won't go through all of them, but simply cherry pick a couple of them. And I think I'm going to start off with this one right here. I'm just going to come across over to here. I'm going to break this one off. There we go. I'm not sure why I just used the grinder. And now we're just going to get into this seat. There we go. We're going to switch the power on. And we're just going to reverse this thing, much as we can, out of that little hole. There we go. I think I've just left a few blocks on there, which is quite useful that I tip this thing over. There we go. Now we're just going to cut this out and paste it in like so. So this is just the silly single-person transport vehicle. We've got a nice lot of speed moving forwards. We can turn around, no risk of this thing flipping over, and we see all the little smoke trails we're leaving on the ice. So coming out of that one and moving across over to one of the bigger ones, let's come to the Wombat Mk2. We're simply going to come into here. Now we're going to disconnect our connector at the back there. And we're going to try and navigate this thing off the stand. There we go. We're now going to come out there. We're now going to drive this across. And there we go. Just a nice, simple little vehicle to transport stuff from one place to another. And we are sliding around, drifting quite a lot, because we are on the ice. We can see we've got a few little controls on here, such as recharging the battery, auto or recharge, handbrakes on and off, and of course our spotlights on and off in case we need it. Just going to slam the brakes on like so, and fly back over to this little station. We'll now come across over, let's go for the bigger one right here, the Capybara Mk2, which is the material transport. So undoing the parking brake, we now need to somehow navigate this out by hopefully not doing that. And here we go, we now got this free. It was the wheel clipping into one of the other blocks, which made it attach and act all wonky. Just driving this thing around. Nice lot of speed with this thing, nice lot of guns on here, we are heavily armoured, and we should safely be able to transport anything in our cargo containers from one place to another. We'll just go and slam into this other vehicle right here, then we'll move across onto one of the drones. And there we go, that was a nice little crash. And here we go, I've chosen the little Gatling gun drone and attached a chair on top, which does look rather comical. We've got a few controls on here, such as the Gatling gun's handbrakes on and off, gyroscope on and off, and of course our camera to view straight forwards if we are using this properly as a drone. We also got our warhead right here where we can. Come out to there, we're going to detonate that, and we deal a nice lot of damage once all our guns have been taken offline. And for one final thing, we're just going to drive around the Wombat PT Mk1. Let's go and get rid of that right there. Let's go and take control of this. And we're going to reverse this one up. I might have just screwed myself with that little hole right there. Let's just go and fix that very quickly. There we go. Just go remove some of these steel blocks like so. And now we should be able to properly drive around the troop transport. Although it looks like... oh no, we can get free, I think. Oh no, we just hooked it on the front. There we go, that should be a bit better. Now we can just reverse this thing out and go on our merry way. But yes, that is pretty much it for the Iron Heathen Showcase. It's a nice collection of vehicles if you do wish to download and take a look at them yourself. A few handy little things in there, such as the kamikaze drone, and some very useful stuff, such as the material transport, and of course the troop transport, if that's your thing. There'll be a link to it in the description below if you wish to download and play around with it yourself. I'd recommend you do. And I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.